then order the Parks and Conservation Land Board December 2025 meeting, which is our last meeting of 2025. It is also the last official meeting of Doug due after 25 years
Humbug.
of service. Recognizing that service, we have some from On the Vine.
Yes. We've already dug into.
Good.
They couldn't wait.
We didn't wait for you.
We didn't wait for
Be
you.
better if they were already all gone.
I'll have you know, I waited for.
Yes, well, I did.
Well, anybody who wishes to take them on the road can make that possible, so.
They're pretty fancy.
Yes, they're
They're-
peppermint and red velvet, the important things.
And they're not cheap either.
So thank you for your service, and I assume that Sue will be here momentarily, but let's go around and take attendance. Jessica Sargent. And just state your name for
Doug
that.
Williams.
Richard Harvey.
Rick Murphy,
Anson Boder.
Maggie Vishnu.
Nicole Hall.
Steven Zamorowski.
Excellent, thank you. So we have quorum. We had 3 sets of meeting minutes that I sent around, which were September, October, November, I believe.
There's no one online, they public comments, just so you.
I just get public comments. Sorry. Andrew, do you have any public comments?
Susie, maybe.
Or Susan?
I will, just, state that, we have an open house this Saturday, Scarborough Land Trust. 9 to 5. I'll be there all day and I'll have board members that have shifts that'll be coming in. So if you have questions or you want to find out more, if you want to get some free maps, and then also do your holiday shopping. It's a great place we've stocked up for the holidays. We have lots of great gifts, all sorts of things. Also, if you haven't been to the office, great chance to come and see it. It's 25 Plaza Drive. It's kind of behind McDonald's near the car wash. So come out, come see us. We'd love to have you there. Tell your friends,
Come soup.
Here's the
families.
rest of your crew.
We also have late hours this Friday and next Friday, so we'll be open to 7. Tomorrow night and then the following week, the same thing. Great.
Yeah.
Tom?
We both went to the one.
But you must go to the town hall sort of in your sleep.
Yeah, I do.
So where are my priorities? There are cupcakes in celebration of your 25 years plus service to Parks and Conservation Land
They didn't
Board.
get me any cup.
My goodness, that's nice, thank you.
But we started. Because both eating the cupcakes and the meeting.
And the meetings. Thank you.
I'll sure.
Chat.
So the draft, the meeting, the minutes that came in the package. For the 16th and the 11th of September, 16th of October, those had not been approved, so.
Correct. And then I sent a 3rd set from the November meeting as a separate email. So you should have 3 sets of draft meeting minutes from our last 3 meetings. So do I have a
I
motion?
moved to approve all 3. I didn't see anything. But I see I need this.
I second.
Discussion?
I think I wasn't at one of the meetings. Do I need to abstain from that one?
See, we're bundling them all together.
If you're bundling,
That's
okay.
complicated.
The bundle, just like on TV. Bundle.
Robert's Rules of Order, just one.
Oh, no.
How do you do that? Then you'd have to approve
right,
everyone separately.
Okay.
Those in favor? Minutes are approved. Thank you. So I'm adding an item to our agenda. As you all know, this is not our typical meeting location. So in in that spirit, we'd like to schedule the 2026 meetings. Obviously, we can also add meetings throughout the year as applications or other items come up. But we are, updated revised charge is every other month. We have our January meeting scheduled for January 8th. So that leaves March, May, July, September, and November. We typically do the second Thursday, so this is gonna be a lot of calendars.
And I am not gonna be able to do that. Thursday, I'm not gonna be able to.
No Thursdays.
Well, I'm doing history docent training in Portland, and they have it from 9 to 12 every Thursday for 10 weeks. So after we get past May, I should be able to.
Okay. Is there a day of the week that, oh, so you can't do January 8th?
I can, it
Oh.
doesn't start till February,
Okay.
February to May.
Okay, so for March, what about Wednesday, the 11th?
Yeah, I could do that.
3/11 at 10,
Right,
assuming 10 still works for folks. Which then brings us, whoop,
March 11th, you're saying?
Yeah,
correct. That'd be Wednesday. Can we move on to May? Maggie, did you want to move back to Thursday or did you want to keep it on?
I have May 7th is my last one, so I could do the 14th.
5/14?
By 14, yeah.
July is always a little complicated with the holiday. That would be the 9th. July 4th is on a Saturday this year. We could also push it out to the 16th if that works better for folks. Any preferences between the 9th and the 16th?
Still putting in the May.
16th seems like a nice round number.
Yeah, I can do either one.
The 16th. And then this year it would be September 10th. It's the second Thursday. And then
September 10th, you said?
September 10th.
Yeah.
And then November, it would be the 12th. Obviously, we can be a little more flexible, as we get closer to those dates, but it's nice to get them set up. And we're gonna aim for town hall,
That would be the aim, yes.
unless people want to color.
You said November 12th, right?
Correct. For the application conversation, you want us to move that item?
Would you mind? I do have a 10:30 get
Yeah.
back too.
Yeah.
So, real quick and simple, I didn't want Nicole to take the brunt of anything. Here hat in hand, I had offered to provide some language with your application, really around the attestation for appraisals. And I failed to do that. I thought I had today to get that done for a meeting next week, but that wasn't the case. So with your indulgence, I could certainly please have someone else take this on if you want, but I'm also willing to follow through on that commitment, and I can have that for your next meeting. I think that's January 8th. Is that right? So I apologize for that. I just this is one of those cases where, you know, sometimes you ask a busy person when work can get done, which is not the case.
It's actually very helpful. Because number 5
I'm glad I could help
on,
you.
number 5 on the council's list
Yes.
was what would the board like your priorities to be in 2026? Well, one of our priorities will be, and what is carrying over? to
There you go.
2026?
I'm glad I could help you.
You help with that?
It's just a small piece of the whole project.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I know, it's a simple thing, so it's
Yes,
half an hour, it's good. I'll let me do it, and I will.
great.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah,
Next time.
He just came for the cupcakes.
You can get it
You didn't say you
today.
need for that.
Take it, go.
Tom, you just get it to Nicole and then she and I will talk. And
Of course,
Get
yeah.
ready for the.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Holidays.
So we have a hard out at 11:30. I know I said it already. Do you want to discuss the application process first, or do you want to talk about the town council goals? Questions. and
When
consent?
are the town council,
Business first.
when are the town council goals? Due,
They are due the 31st, so we have some time
31st of this month.
of this month, yes. And do you have yes, I know, I agree. Do you know what the purpose is? The purpose is for the council's, new council's goal setting, correct? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So January 8th is too late.
Yeah.
Yes. So we have
So
to
it'd
do
have to
it.
just be done digitally if we don't make it to this,
Yeah.
for this meeting.
Yes. And so I think that the priority is the application, and folks can go in and do the
Like a shared
questionnaire.
document.
Yeah, we can do a shared document, like we could
Okay.
do it offline, I think.
Yeah,
I don't anticipate that we'll be like, no, I don't like your goals.
well, and a writing by committee is really
Yes.
not productive.
I suggest we try to get the discussion going and do 90% of it locally, and then somebody take on the task of writing it up. It's a shared document, it was just, I don't think it will work.
But I still think we can do that second.
Yes, oh
Yes.
yeah, sure.
Okay, so we're gonna switch the order. We're gonna move to updating the application, which you all should have a copy, Nicole printed out, and an electronic version of the sent in the meeting minutes. And then after that, we will talk about the council goals.
Okay, I can speak to just what is in here as far as like highlights or question marks. So Autumn was kind enough to provide me with kind of a template to loosely base it on, just so that for consistency purposes, something that would be in the planning department, it looks simple, although it's really all our fronting. So the pieces that I kept in left question marks were things that were in theirs, and I was looking for the committee to weigh in on whether that is applicable in this particular case. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, so.
And for reference, the original application form is appendix A in your binder. Because I was going back like,
Yeah, it was never kind of separate.
Yeah.
It was never really its own thing.
yeah. It's cause it's like, oh, that's weird. I'm like, oh, that's been in there for 20 years. So I want to thank Dan and Nicole for pulling this together. And do you want to lead this discussion?
Yeah, that would be great. Basically, that's all we did with this. Added the word, the stuff about the attestation, that's to be determined, to be added. And we just took that checklist on page 3 of the application and just made it easier to understand, because I felt that there were some certain things that we were trying to accomplish with that checklist that the Scarborough Land Trust clearly knows how to fill this out and clearly knows what we're looking for. But any other applicant, I thought, when I first read the list, I wasn't sure what they were asking specifically. So yes, it's a little longer, but I think it's easier for somebody to be asked a question to be answered versus a checklist. So that's why it's a little longer. We have, instead of the checklist, we have a list of 9 questions or 8 questions.
I think it also lines up more with the new
Exactly, so that,
acquisition
Right.
pieces, right?
exactly. So basically, we're asking the application process a little more clearly. The things that we're basically using as criteria for the scoring process, I felt.
Yes, sorry, I want to interrupt you, I apologize. I also want to highlight that I've asked the Scarborough Land Trust as a frequent applicant to weigh in on the practicalities
I was just gonna suggest that.
of the application. And I think in that spirit, there's also, what format this is going to take. Do you know what the planning, is the planning department's, there's electronic, like a fillable PDF. There's an online submittal form. Like, do we know generally what we're shooting for?
I don't know what planning actually does. All I know is this was like a PDF form, so we can certainly do the same. In my mind, it could also be a jot form, but I would have to work through IT for that process, but you kind of have to have this outline to even get it to that point anyway,
Yep.
so. Once this is all hammered out, then I can sit with IT and we can draft up what an online one would look like. So,
Because that might not impact the question itself, but like how much space we give people and like what that looks like in a form, like it's a half a page of empty space.
or yeah, or more so, if there's certain things that need limits, then you would need to
Yes.
know that for that.
And then you can
formation.
add, add more, if you need more space, add it to the end or something. There's
Yeah.
a space for that.
Just, if this form is gonna stand out for 20+ years, we do have to think about some of these.
Right.
The practicalities.
So right now it's it's a fillable PDF, right?
That's what it would be. I don't think this one is, but
Is
that's,
that how you create, is it a fillable or do you have to just?
it is
No.
not, it is not.
Is that, I think that's, you should shoot for that.
That's
Yeah.
a huge help right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And having it be anything more than that, I don't think you would need anything. You're not inputting this into. the system. So, yeah, so a fillable PDF.
Yep.
Is, what I would suggest. Strategy.
I think it's great to have Scarborough Land Trust go through it and review it. Was it Maine Farmland Trust? Was there was somebody not,
Yes.
Yes.
was it Maine
Maine
Farmland Trust?
Main
I
fund.
just, because they were new to the process and I just wonder if they might also.
Yeah, I
Do
think
a good
they
review.
were one that made us question
Yes,
that there
exactly,
probably needed to be
exactly.
something like this. Cause it wasn't as clear as to what,
Yeah.
I feel
what
like
we
you guys just
wanted.
innately knew what you needed to bring and.
And we've become accustomed to certain pieces like the budget that wasn't
Wasn't clear to them.
part of the application at all.
Right.
So, being clear on what our expectations are, because we do have expectations.
You just don't say them.
We just don't say them. We just don't write them anywhere.
Right.
So getting back to the form itself, I was wondering if rather than a pre-application meeting, we reframe that. And this is a discussion point, as providing a date and time for a site visit prior to the presentation meeting, because what I heard from folks who did site meetings was they found it very, very
Oh, yes.
helpful in going through the evaluation. And I think providing a date and time or 2 dates, or, 2 times is all we can ask of an applicant, because it is difficult to coordinate our schedules. So I don't want to put a hard and fast rule of like how many, this is my personal opinion, how many people have to be able to do a site visit before it can be considered, because I feel like that's an unfair burden on the applicant based on
Right.
where
Our
we
schedule.
are in the nomination process and our schedules, but, what, I know that's a new idea, so I'd like to hear other folks' thoughts on that.
I think it's a great idea. I'm one of the people that found that the one I went on very helpful and makes it very tangible what we're doing.
Yeah, I've been on site visits too with the Conservation Commission. It makes a big difference, a huge difference.
Right, I think most of us agree we should have a site visit, whether they can give dates at this early point of filling applications, that what you're
It
suggesting?
would be 3 weeks before, it would be it would be at least 3 weeks before a meeting.
Well, and they may be able to suggest 2 possible dates and times. And if that doesn't work out, here's a phone number, we can.
So we don't, when they're filling out this application, they don't know when the meeting is.
I agree with Sam. I
They,
agree.
they know when our set meetings are, those are published. or they've come to a meeting and requested a meeting.
Let's receive
I think
the
they're very-
application. Let's receive the application and then get back to them and say, we need a
Yes.
site visit and we need it in this kind of timeframe. What can you do?
I would
As opposed
suggest
to asking people, this
Ahead of
is already cumbersome. I mean, and we're asking questions about processes for accepting applications and all this kind of stuff. That's all planning board stuff, you know, because it's all professional organizations developing schedules, money's on the line, et cetera, et cetera. Let's not ask them to set a date for a site walk if we don't even, we may not even want to consider the purpose.
So I think just to give some context, in the plannings document, the pre-application meeting is for the applicant. It's not gonna be these guys, they know what they're doing. It would be for anybody else that's coming forward if they had questions. It's like anybody going to planning and they wanna make sure they have their ducks in a row. And I think the way Autumn presented it was that it would be like in our department, if somebody is planning to apply and they had questions, they would have the capability of setting up a pre-app meeting with me
Right.
to go over all the things that they need.
That needs
But
to.
it's not required, so I don't think we should put it on the form.
Yeah.
not required.
It's,
We could just make a note saying it's available.
it's like
Yes.
it's like a grant. You're applying for a grant and you meet with your grant, program officer ahead of time to make
think
sure you
that's-
understand the whole process.
Just make a note that he's contacted you. Yeah. I would recommend it, somebody the first time does that, right?
Needs to be let in.
As long as you just.
Just a sentence that says a pre-application meeting is available upon request.
Yeah,
Yep.
consultation, don't call it a meeting.
Question about application process.
Yeah.
Here's what you can do if you have questions about the application,
Yeah.
the application process.
Yeah,
Here's who you can talk to. That's
So
really-
after the application is what you're suggesting for the site visit.
Will have to be.
It would have to be.
The only form, we don't know it's a formal application.
Yeah.
Visit until the application is in.
So there are two things that. One, we do require a presentation by an applicant. And we request a site visit, and so just making that. Transparent where that is in the process, it doesn't necessarily have to be part of the application form, but. In practice, we have required a presentation by the applicant.
That's what the
yeah.
EAP is
Yeah.
for. So the EAP, when somebody says, I would like to make an application, they would get the form and they would get the EAP. The whole process, this new document, right? This whole thing, so in PDF. So that explains exactly the process we're going through. These are the steps that we're going through in chronological order. So it doesn't have to be on the form.
Well, so, as in we probably do want to put on the form that if you have questions or something.
Oh, sure, that's fine, yeah,
Okay.
but, yeah.
I guess the question is, Jess, as you go forward with this. Are you rewriting it just for the sake of rewriting, or does the existing process? That we had with revision work?
Yes, we're currently just revising what we already have.
Yeah.
It's not a
I
new.
mean, if it's broken, fix it.
No, it's
If it's not,
it just clarifies and adds a few little things like the attestation fees. Those kinds of things.
yeah, there's several things about this that I really like, and there's a couple of things that couple of questions that you had that, you know, want to answer.
Yeah, really, like, it was
Yes,
in a form,
really.
we're like, I don't know if this has the place here, but we're gonna leave it here and. You guys say if it has a place or not, so.
You know, the application checklist is a great idea, and we should talk about what those things are. Because there's an opportunity to talk about that station.
so. We're on the first page still.
Right, so pre-application meetings is going in the process document.
But there is going to be a sentence on the application that says if
Who
you're,
you can contact.
yeah, it's gonna be in the application, yeah.
And in terms of submittal deadlines, why?
So the way that they have it in planning is you already, same thing, you already have your set. You already have your set meetings, is it worthwhile at least, and maybe it's not called submittal deadlines, but maybe it's the this stuff is expected this many weeks
Ahead of these.
ahead of it, yeah.
I would just get rid of it. I mean, you can give them the schedule's public, but. Or make a note that when the meetings are, maybe.
I wouldn't put it in the document, but I think it's worthwhile saying how many weeks in advance of a meeting you would need it.
Well,
So.
Yeah, that's,
I was thinking review is based on scheduled meetings, however, applicants can request an additional meeting at a scheduled. meeting. And because it's just,
Make it clear that in terms of timeframes, what our situation is, because we're not planning board. You know, so
Right.
we don't actually make any decisions. So, and the planning board really does, as long as it's within our legal requirements. Planning board makes decisions. We just make recommendations. So the time frame for us is really difficult because we can't say to someone, if you give it to us now, we can get it, the council will be looking at it 6 weeks later. They may, and we may be able to estimate that, but we can't say for sure. So, you know, if we give people an idea of what the process is,
Right.
then they'll figure it out.
and I think in the process document, we could have a sample timeline. Right, like
Yes,
traditionally, we have been requesting that a completed application be at least 3 weeks before the meeting. And that's for the GIS analysis and our review before we consider it at a meeting. I think we can put that in the process document. I don't think that needs to be on the
Yeah.
application.
That's great.
and then to Doug's point, once we have reviewed it and can make a recommendation to town council, then it's up to them to,
Yes, then it has to
Schedule.
get on their schedule.
yes.
I mean, they have one meeting in certain months, and
Yeah.
so, you know, if our meeting falls on
I think all you can
Thursday.
speak to is your.
Yes,
Right,
exactly.
right.
You know, and then recommendation is provided to town council. We can say it does require 2 readings. So that the applicants understand.
I was just gonna say. That. A sentence that basically says we do not have submittal deadlines, however we do. We would appreciate 3 weeks to process, and the town council has 2 readings. It's just something that
So they know it's
summarizes
a long time.
what the deadline, what it would be. I know it can be more detailed in the process, but if on an application form, you really
It's just
need
like
to
a nice
tell.
heads up.
Yeah, you need to tell, yeah. So I'm not gonna say what the sentence is, but.
And I think,
Like she said.
I think,
Oh,
That should go in the EAP, Susan.
no, I understand that.
So you need to come up with something.
Well, no, I understand. I understand that, but I still think on the application form. There should be a little bit.
Well, I think deadline's the wrong word, because we're not giving them a deadline.
Well, that's what,
They're
that's what you say. We
basically-
do not have,
timeline,
They're gonna be fit into our schedule, so that's what you explain.
timeline.
Just give them.
well, you can set submittal timelines.
Process
Once
is,
they submit it,
Yeah. Just,
Submittal-
you know, a
submittal
sentence
timeline.
that says that.
up to 3 weeks or a month, whatever, you can say, 'cause it's not a deadline, they're not under deadline to do anything.
And a sample.
Well, it'd be nice to say there is
date.
no deadline.
Well, they're considered on a rolling basis.
as long as they.
Something like that.
They just need the information.
Yeah.
I think as Jess said a minute ago and Sam has said, they need the information about what's going to happen. So we need 3 weeks before we can evaluate it. So if if the meeting comes a week after the application arrives, we'll be getting it the next meeting. I mean,
Right.
as long as they understand the timeline.
Right.
Then that's what it
Variable
is.
deadlines can be accommodated. Details are found in the acquisition evaluation. process.
Can I ask a
Don't
question?
use that.
Who is the
That's a bad
pre-application
word,
meeting
yeah.
with? Who do they
Yeah,
meet if
Nicole.
they wanna have a pre-app?
Nicole.
Nicole.
We already discussed that.
Yeah.
So I think of probably at that pre-application meeting, you might be able to fill them in on some of the
The timeline.
timelines and guidelines
Everybody-
and things like that.
Take. Me up on a pre-application meeting, but correct.
I know I would like to.
But
speak
yeah,
to somebody
referring
before I
back to
did
the
something.
AEP is probably the
I think
best.
verbally and having it written down is helpful.
Oh, I'm not arguing against having it written down. I'm just thinking that some of this stuff would.
Get hammered out.
Would get.
Yeah.
Gone over in a pre-application meeting.
And the AEP will be online. It is currently, so the updated would also be online.
So that answers really number 3 of the next section. Current process for accepting the applications.
Yeah, I guess the only question is like, how have we received them before? It's just via email, right?
Correct.
Okay. That was my question.
You can get rid of it, right? That's gonna be.
Via email to whom?
That's a,
Town or chair or
I think we should set
clerk or?
an email address specific to applications, and then on the back end, that can be sent to I think the people that need to know are the chair, the staff liaison, and the council liaison need to know when an application comes in. And then those 3 are responsible for
That makes sense.
distributing it appropriately. So I don't mean dummy, just.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It actually, it's just looks a certain way, but it forwards it.
Yes. So for example, if the staff liaison or the council liaison or the chair change, then somebody at the town
Scoops it up.
scoops, switches who it gets sent to, but externally facing it will always be the same email address that you submitted to.
Application ad.
Yes. PCLB, application at Scarborough,
And you
whatever.
said chair, who else?
Staff liaison and council liaison. Because, I think the Karen's on, the council liaison, it's helpful for them to know, like, how many applications do we have in the queue, because they're part of scheduling the council
yeah.
review of our recommendation.
And you're not saying chair of the council, you're saying chair of the Parks and Conservation Land Board.
Correct. Unless you think it should go to the.
No, not
the chair.
necessarily. Staff liaison's good.
Yeah.
I mean, not staff, yeah, council liaison.
So yeah, so are people comfortable with creating?
Yeah.
An external email address?
It's a great idea.
And that would change 3, submit the lead application required materials to the email address. And do we want to change the, if you have, questions, submit it to that same email address? Because again, it'll go to, right, the appropriate person, and then between that group, they would decide who should respond. And
Is this going to be a municipal email
Yeah.
address?
Are we ready to move on to the checklist?
It's a checklist, the required materials.
Yes.
Question, so, you guys are talking about possibly making changes to the EAP, are you guys gonna review that at another meeting? Okay, so this will be the application, then like next meeting, or whenever, you guys will go through the EAP to discuss some of the things that you're putting in, like site visits and.
Yeah, we
Is
just
it AEP
clarify-
or
we just clarify,
EAP?
instead of saying EAP, what do we call them?
It's
AE.
AE, application evaluation
I
process.
just wanted to make sure I wasn't lost.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you for
Because everybody's
asking that,
thinking.
because I didn't know what it was either.
It's the
Application.
button.
Yeah, the binder.
So I don't have a binder. I just have whatever the thing was that you all, the old guidelines.
Yeah, that's,
it.
actually, that's a
That's it.
30 by 30. That right there is a 30 by 30 that you're looking at.
This one?
Yeah, that's not,
This thing. You gotta tell me what
You've got it. I think you've got it in here though. It's right here.
Okay, I'm so efficient. I put all this in one binder and now I can't find anything. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we're doing the application form first so that we can then match the process to the form. And because part of that is that some questions may require an example or explanation, like to the crosswalk it to that.
Yeah, so. I guess as you move forward. Just take a look. please, I don't, you know, I'm not gonna do this, there's no big deal, but take a look at the current acquisition evaluation process. I mean,
That's what
we're doing this and, you know, you're rewriting the whole thing, and I'm not sure that there's a problem with it. I think you should rewrite anything that needs to be updated, that needs a better approach. But, I mean,
Yes, Doug,
there's
let me
a
stop you
process.
there. I've already gone through the whole thing.
Okay.
And set out a couple of different things we need to do. Then Susan took on the goal, the role of rewriting it, adapting it.
No, that was the
So-
checklist, yes.
No, the whole thing.
The whole thing.
AEP.
The whole acquisition
Yeah.
evaluation process?
Yeah,
Well,
Well, not
we can
rewriting,
discuss,
but-
we can discuss
editing,
about it.
Editing.
Editing,
not rewriting.
But
it's not rewriting.
combining the, yeah, well, I just don't think we should get into it, because we'll go on about it. But
Well,
you're right,
But that process includes the application process we're going through right now.
Right.
exactly,
It has all the steps in that process.
exactly.
But
So
the
that-
application still needs to be a standalone document because nobody's gonna, the way it's situated right now is it's an appendix. So if there's value in putting at least pieces of the process on the form at the get-go so that,
That's a
People can apply.
standalone document.
yeah.
All I'm saying is if you're gonna put pieces of that process on there, let's put on there the things that we're requiring people to do, and if we're changing this, then that has to go to the council. So who receives applications, email addresses, all this stuff has to be in a
Yeah.
document that goes to the council. Because the council approved this, so it's all part of a package. So-
I'm envisioning it as a package. There are three pieces to the package in my mind. There's the new app, the new process. There's the new application, and they're not new, they're just updated. Updated
App.
app, updated application form, and updated companion process document guide.
All right, so what you are saying is you want to get rid of the preliminary evaluation form. Is that right, Sue? Is that what you did? Did you said?
I did not make any,
I thought Sam just said that you
Remember what?
edited the whole
No, no, no,
acquisition
no,
No,
evaluation.
no, no.
I had volunteered to do it.
He volunteered to
Ah.
do it.
I did not do that. In fact, I have questions for the whole group prior to doing that, because Sam and I were discussing it after the meeting, and we had some different ideas on it, and I just wanted to get the whole group's idea on it.
No, but we have some new people here, relatively new people here.
Yes.
And just so people know, there is a preliminary evaluation form
Yes,
that was filled out. Now, this was used as a way to vet whether we wanted to be looking at the property. It also was an opportunity to see, for people to ask questions about what they had, so,
You know when the last time somebody's done that is?
we've almost never used it.
Mm.
No, and that's why, you know, spending half an hour talking about pre-application meetings doesn't make any sense to me. Which we have.
Right.
so so you propose that we just eliminate that completely?
I'm not proposing, well, eliminate what?
The
Preliminary.
preliminary,
No, I think it's a good
No,
idea.
that's, the new application is that document.
he's talking about this one.
There's one that some of you probably have never seen,
Oh.
like I've.
He's talking about this one.
Yeah, get rid of it. It's not in it's not in the current process, is it?
Yeah.
It was supposed to be, it's page 3 of
We're
the,
doing this, current process isn't sitting in front of us, so I understand.
it's
I don't
page
think,
3.
I don't think most of the people here even looked at the current process, and I understand that too. But just understand, what you're doing is you're rewriting something that already exists, and when you rewrite it, then you'll submit it to the council. I think it'll work fine, that's not an issue, I'm just telling you, there's nothing else out there already, so.
It's page 3 of the current application is what it is. And typically what happens is, Scott could correct me if I'm wrong, you go boom, 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 check, 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 check. And then you write a big paragraph on how wonderful the property is.
That's exactly what we're talking about here. That is this document.
I guess we were not under the impression that was a preliminary, that was
This-
page
this
3
is
of
the
the application.
Well, yeah,
Cause it doesn't explicitly say it at the top, it makes
No.
it seem like it's a continuation,
yeah,
but
Well,
it's
it
all
is-
part of the new
it is.
thing anyway.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
So I think we can talk about the checklist now.
Yes.
So this is a courtesy for them to know what's needed for,
Yes,
for, to be
right.
considered complete.
Right, exactly. This is what they need to submit when they submit their application, which this is the application. Okay, so they need the site location map, acceptance map, photos. They also, we were adding a budget. Right, so I think in the budget, we need to explain to them what the budget would include.
yeah.
So I think we have the purchase or easement costs, any legal fees, and what else we want them to include. The Scarborough Land Trust is included in the past, stewardship fees. I don't think that's really appropriate for most people. Maybe it is, maybe we should have it. If it's a conservation easement, I think there's requirements for stewardship, right, Andrew?
There's national standards and practices that most land trusts work under that require certain set stewardship amount per property. Is a minimum amount. And also legal defense for conservation easements. There's also some other requirements such as management plans for the owned properties, things like that, that we have to do.
So my thought is that in the application, we say that we require a budget and like we have a place to attach it, but the AEP is where we outline what we're looking for various, like if it's an easement or like what, either provide an example or examples, and really detail what we're looking for in a budget, rather than, sorry,
Getting into it on the
getting
actual
into it on the application. So that's where I see a real crosswalk between the application form and the AEP.
So more detailed in the ADP.
More details,
Process.
yes.
That makes sense to me.
Way I'm thinking of this is just like filling out your 1040 tax form. You have the tax
Right.
form, then you have the instructions to fill out.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
It would be good, I'll just throw this out, when we discuss what should be in that budget. I think we need to consider that it's, at least for land trusts. You know, they have to put budgets for every grant, and every grantor
It's different.
is different, it can be a pain in the butt, so. The guidance from the land trust would be really important as far as that goes, but. So they don't have to make a ton of changes, they can just throw us it needs to be flexible, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. And the level of detail might be different based on the applicant and what they're asking,
Yeah.
right? So that's why it's more of a instructions guidance than a hard and fast rule that we put in the application form.
So
But
look, we
I
need,
can't see us not asking for a budget.
correct,
Right.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
but on this list, you should put signed attestation also. I know it's over here, but
Let's word it a little differently. Let's say in this, right here at this point, proof of professional appraisal. Now, that's going to raise
I like that.
questions. That's going to raise questions because as we heard from Scott and we heard from Tom, Paul, this whole business of appraisals and what is proof and everything else is a mess, a legal mess, but we require proof of a professional appraisal. We don't know exactly what that's gonna look like, but I'm just saying, to put it, on the list.
Oh, yeah, actually, it has to be done with, we've talked about this. Ad nauseam, in my opinion, we decided that they either have to attach their appraisal. They have to attach an appraisal summary signed by the appraiser, or they have to sign an attestation. The submitter has to sign an attestation that appraisal was done and that is the fee. And that's what Tom is gonna write out, I thought, right?
Well, all I'm suggesting
He's
is that it be on the list of requirements.
Oh, absolutely.
That's it.
The only thing I would
Not,
chime
I'm
in
not suggesting how.
is if it's part of the application, it wouldn't be on this, because this is referencing attachments. So if it's a separate attachment that you're requesting, then you would put it on that list, but if it's part of the application document, which I think it would actually be part of the application document, it doesn't need to be on this list, because it's part of the application.
Well, it's an attachment. They have to attach something. It's the materials that we require, just like
Well, if it's a
If
state,
it's on
We're
the
doing the
form.
verification, right?
If
Is
the-
that what you're
if
saying?
the form is part of the application and there's a place to sign, then it's not an attachment, it's part of the application. That's all I'm saying. But
But
if it's,
if
that's
they're
just
gonna
one.
submit the application, if they're gonna submit the appraisal or a summary appraisal, then it would be an attachment. Right?
Okay, can I ask
Sure,
a
but
question?
it's a bureau
Typically, who
requirement.
is the applicant?
Yeah.
It's
in the-
Purchaser of, or the purchase of the easement or the.
It's mostly been the Scarborough Land Trust,
But it's
There are
Maine
that doesn't-
Farmland Trust.
There have
Maine
been others,
Farmland
but there have
Trust.
been others,
there have
and
been 6 or 7.
Throughout the history, there's been Trust for Public Land, Maine Farmland Trust, Scarborough Land Trust, the town of Scarborough. And you might consider the Scarborough Historical Society. Most of those applications, I think, have come through the town. And they've been the submittal, but they've been the recipient.
We never saw those applications.
So
Decided if we're not-
these groups are all professionals. It's not like
But
I wanted to donate, I wanted to do something like an
there's
individual.
nothing that prohibits an individual from
Yeah.
applying.
right,
There isn't, and that, I think that's the key. An individual could apply.
we don't want to create an application that is prohibitive to non-professional groups.
If the Deerings, for instance, that we just approved, did not have the Maine Farmland Trust, they could have come to us
On their own.
on their own.
But there's some real issues with
Yeah.
that. Because you can't have an individual say, I'm gonna do an easement and not have a certified holder for the easement. You can't have an individual say, I'm gonna conserve my property. And then just accept money from the town and say my property's conserved.
Right,
I mean, there are legal mechanisms to do this. And I think there's some very specific language that you guys are gonna want that, I don't wanna take time here, but, for example, like appraisal. I think you really need to say a, independent licensed appraiser. And then, you could have a statement under it, if you do not have an appraisal, what's your method of valuation? So there are potential cases where you guys might go, well, an appraisal is not really needed because it's a sliver of something that doesn't really have the way to formulate a good appraisal for whatever. I mean, there are potential, or the arch project. That would be very hard to get an appraisal to move the arch. That is basically, that would have been just a quote from contractor. But I think if you're looking for these things, you have to think about, well, if an individual comes to you and says, here's my application. Oh yeah, I did an appraisal. I had my brother, write this up because, he's a realtor. That's not an appraisal.
Right. Yeah. So I think the required materials, so to finish up page 1, the required materials will be consistent with the attachments we require that we double check once we.
So we're definitely gonna have a budget.
That's one of the things that should consider as this process continues of redoing this is Andrew just made me think about it as he was saying that. We want to make sure, I know we're trying not to do this, we're not trying to do this. But we need to make sure that the application process isn't being screened by Nicole or somebody somewhere. And things are being turned away.
Tell me.
Is it that?
it doesn't sound like one of my ringtones.
It's somebody's phone, I think.
It's on my phone. You know it.
It's not me.
Someone in the lobby.
I forgot mine.
It's on the other
so-
side.
No, wait.
You can hear it over there. Okay.
Unless
Welcome to the hub.
Somebody else.
unless it's what you really want is to have somebody screening this in before it gets to the committee, but we've never done that, and I'm not sure that we have seen enough, but we want to be screening stuff before it gets to us. Nothing you've talked about today is doing that, all right, so I'm just saying, let's make sure we don't screen.
So I do screen for completeness.
Oh, you're the chairman,
Right,
yeah, you should.
okay. But like,
Yeah,
I have screened to make sure the application is
You know,
complete.
when you apply for a job these days, sometimes you get temporary people in HR who are screening all.
No, you get AI
You
programs.
get AI programs doing, and you know,
Okay.
and I'm just saying, you
I
know.
don't think we're
you
there.
know, if somebody in the committee is screening it, great, you know, I think because of our relationship with Nicole and how integrated she
We don't
is.
want Nicole's school.
She could look at these things too and ask whether the questions, but knocking things out before the committee gets to look at it is not a good idea. And that's not what we're talking about, so I apologize. I think we were talking about just making sure this list there's a list here.
Yes, and a complete list. So for the next page on the general information form, I think we need to, so we have um, we have the contact person, but we need the applicant.
Oh, the
name.
applicant, yes.
We need the applicant name, so for example, Maine Farmland Trust, and then who the contact person, who she doesn't name the contact person is. And I think we could even consider with the applicant name, we could have a checkbox for, are they an organization, you know, are they a land trust, are they individual, are they a corporation? I don't know if we need that, but
No, that would be good, I think.
What
Well,
were
we
your
know.
categories again?
Individual.
oh, I think we could do individual, nonprofit, corporation, or I guess for the town would be another category, like if it was the town.
You just put
Municipal,
government.
yeah,
Government, right, because it could be,
I mean, I guess the state theoretically could.
yeah.
that's what I was gonna say, I think the state of Maine could, they could even,
Doubt they would, but
but they could hold the easement, right? Like if they're the ultimate, if it's a individual who's applying for funds and the state will hold it, I don't know, I think there are possibilities, like weird possibilities, well, unusual.
And this is before the property name. Because the applicant and all that information, and then the property name.
So my understanding is that the box on the bottom is from the original application. And we don't currently use it.
That's right. I was basically thinking that we should,
Drop it.
so was I, yeah. But
Unless the town is filling it out after town council approval or something, it's not something we as a committee use. So it's on
This is a town
page-
council.
It's never been used.
it's never been
used.
used.
When we put it in originally, it was under the assumption, because people on the council were saying this, is we want to make sure that this is a willing seller. I want to make sure that they're not being pushed into this by.
There was the whole takings, there was
Yeah,
discussion
it's a
of,
big deal.
the town wants this land and they're gonna take it. Kind
So
of thing.
the idea was they sign and say, yes, some of them, so, and we've never used it, it has been necessary.
Well,
Right,
everything
right.
I've seen, you have nothing to do with the owners anyway, right?
Right.
The sellers
Very seldom.
stuff.
Very seldom.
Yeah,
We-
okay.
We do in some cases, like with the deerings, but in most cases.
So I say
Yeah.
consensus is we drop it.
Good.
Mhm.
Yay, we dropped something.
We've got more space.
We have more space now.
I do have a question. I'm comparing it
Page.
on the same page as we drop this. So we also, is there a place for the assessed value and the appraised value
Not on that.
anymore?
page. Not on that page.
No, but
it's
did we
on-
move it? Did we move it?
We
Yeah.
moved it. It's on the final page.
Why don't I see it? Where am I?
Number 9.
Oh, got it. Okay. It's just. Okay. So there is no assessed value. You know, I think the reason why we put
It says value up because there's no relevance, there's very little or no relevance.
I understand that. I'm gonna tell you why we put it in there in the first place. I think it's because individuals who are not involved in this process look at the assessed value sometimes and say, well, that property is nowhere near the value of what they're asking.
Well, that's why we took it out, because there's no relevance, and giving people information that is misleading is problematic versus not having it.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
It's better to give them the information than to obscure it or not include it
I
right
think
at the very
that's-
beginning.
I think that's
So
what,
if somebody does a
we originally-
subdivision of like the property on Mussey, we took 30 acres out of 60 acres. So we're gonna have the town come in and assess that land.
No, I think you use the last assessment.
It is an
that's publicly
assessment.
available.
It is not an
And
assessment.
Then we don't have to.
Don't argue it, don't
Don't worry
drill
about it.
down on it, don't try to change it, and don't try.
And this is a town
It
assessment,
is what it is, just disclose it, be transparent about
The
it.
town.
not a
Deal with
real
the
estate
Issues
assessment.
themselves.
no, it's
It is
the
a real
town.
estate.
The town assesses certain
It's a tax
properties.
assessment.
Tax
Assessment for
assessment,
tax.
okay.
Yeah.
Which is
All
usually
properties.
lower
Yes.
than a real.
Usually 80%.
Right.
Can
Or down.
we, so we, I'm thinking it's, the parcel has a name with a bunch of letters and numbers in it. And then, is it called a tax assessed value? Like whatever the title is on this value, or an assessed value, assessed value, like the
Because that's the only place in the assessment.
Parcel
Town.
name and the town assessed value, I think that's a line. Sometimes it has very little to do, well, it has little to do with the market value, but also can sometimes have very little to do with the portion of the parcel that we're even considering.
Right.
But we can put it,
But again, if
For
it has very
transparency.
little to do in relevance to what we're trying to accomplish here.
You have to be transparent
Why
on
does it
this,
have
on
to
this
be?
for that, because it is public knowledge.
Because somebody could go look at
They can
it.
go look it up if
Yeah.
they.
Yeah, the assessed value has almost zero to do with the purchase price. Because the assessed value has all these factors that the assessor takes into account. It can be under tree growth, which would lower the assessed value, but tree growth is not a permanent thing. It can go away. It can be under the state open space. It can be under the state farming, which lowers the assessed value. It depends upon obviously all sorts of things in terms of what structures and things are on the property, and where they are on the property. It depends upon where you are, by law, the town has to do a reassessment every 10 years. So if you're in year 9, those assessments are gonna be way off from where they were in year 1.
can it be assessed value or appraised value?
None of that is in dispute. The relevance is not in dispute. The issue is if that number is publicly available, which it is, do you want it to come up? And there's a huge discrepancy between the assessed value and the appraised value. When do you want that to come up? Do you want it to come up at the very beginning so that the committee has an opportunity to delve into it if they choose to do that? And perhaps have Andrew explain why that discrepancy exists ahead of time? Or do you want to wait until there's a town council meeting and somebody stands up and says, oh my gosh, this has a huge.
Which they will.
Which they will, and I think, again, that
Is deal with it up front, deal with it. in a
you
honest
articulated
and
that beautifully.
Transparent way, right up front. And that allows you at least to address it in our conversation here. And then we will know.
I agree with that too. I agree with that too.
Back on. in-
Well, because
in
of,
the Same
because of
section.
discrepancies, I was a fan of getting rid of it when we first started talking about these, whatever. But I came around to this way of thinking too, because of what happened the last time.
Sure.
We went to the council, but we discussed it and we talked about it, and our recommendation identified that there was a big discrepancy between assessed value and market value, and here's why.
Yeah.
And it's probably better to do that than to blindside the council with someone standing up and saying, you realize that.
Exactly.
Especially since we have people who are kind of dedicated to doing that. Seriously.
So then the question is ordering, right? That's
That's right,
ordering where it appears on. I
right here.
I'm just gonna go back. And this sort of all kind of ties in together. We are requiring an appraisal. So are we limiting ourselves to someone applying for the funds that doesn't have an appraisal yet? If we're not, then the assessed value is that's the only number we're gonna have. That's the only number, and we're basically going to give them the feel for, look, we will make a recommendation when you get this appraisal. And I'm gonna give you a feel for, yes, we probably would approve such and such amount of money, but we can't do that without an appraisal.
I thought we were requesting, but
Well-
we can open the possibility, there are situations where an appraisal is not.
Well, that's what I wondered, and that's why I'm asking the question. So we are open to non-appraised properties.
It stays open for a little bit, it will fall. Thank you.
I mean, I think you guys have to be consistent. I mean, you can't say to a land trust, you have to have an appraisal, but
Right.
here's an individual, because you're an individual and you're not used to this process.
Right.
You guys have lesser rules.
Well, we just
Because-
talked about a historic property where maybe we would request 2 quotes for moving the arch.
So I'm gonna suggest that we have no authority here as a board, other than to issue a recommendation. So our normal expectation is that we're going to get a certification, an attestation that an appraisal has been done, and we would like the number. We know that there are going to be some times, as Andrew mentioned and Sue brought up, where we can't get that. And so it's fully within our purview to put a motion on the board saying to waive the expectation that an appraisal is going to be part of the application. And footnote that when our recommendation goes to the town council, we can make that decision on the fly in those extremely rare circumstances where it might happen. But our normal protocol ought to be, in the law, according to Andrew, requires that you have an appraisal, right?
It's not law, it's what we call our standards and practices
That's
that we're
correct.
focused.
But it is
Okay.
required
So
for
that's
tax
it.
purposes.
Let's
Correct.
require it, let's require it and.
Require donor.
And
And
when
waive it if
people
we need to.
apply, we have this pre-application process, whether it's meetings or talking to Jess or Jed, I mean, there's an opportunity to talk to people, hopefully, in these rare cases, and say, sure, yeah, we want to see those materials, even though you're not gonna have an appraisal, but let's require an appraisal.
So if,
Council.
okay, but I guess my point is, if I was a person, just a normal person, and I have some land and it says proof of professional, well, I'm not gonna pay for an appraisal if I'm not. So I just want language in there that says, or requested waiver.
We have no
That-
mechanism to make a recommendation to the town on that land unless there's a conservation appraisal done. We're doing conservation, we're not buying land for we're buying land for conservation purposes. Its conservation appraisal is very different than any kind of other land appraisal. That's another reason why it doesn't apply to the assessed value of the property. So we wouldn't be able to make a recommendation to the town council on this property unless we had a conservation appraisal.
No, but we would be able to make a recommendation to the person.
Well, by saying this is required, that's our recommendation.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm just saying this. If there is a possibility that we could waive this requirement, I just think we need to say. You may request a waiver.
Can we put that
If
in the
we-
document?
What's
Why
that?
would we say that when we're asking?
To not scare off people who don't wanna pay for an appraisal.
Well,
And I'm not talking about the land.
But they have to have an appraisal.
We can't.
So they
For the- for
would
the-
call Nicole and say, what is this appraisal thing?
But not
I
for the
need this.
application necessarily.
Sure. Why would we have an application that, are they just thinking about this? Well, then call Nicole and say, what is this? How does this work? What do I need to do?
Well, okay, so. Again, if you have if there's a parcel. And if it's a person and they aren't even connected with the land trust, maybe. They don't like the land
Right,
trust.
so this person.
They don't like the land
Well,
trust.
let's get into this example more, though. What are you hypothesizing that an individual would want to? Get
To
money
see
from the
whether,
town.
yeah, to see whether or not they would be able to get money from the town. In other words,
To do
to
what?
explore, to conserve their land, but they haven't,
Well, they can call
Decided it
Nicole
yet.
and ask the question.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, they're not ready to do an application. I mean.
yeah.
That whole concept is, what does that even mean? I mean, we've never ever had anyone say
Yeah.
that they want to conserve their land themselves.
Well, they have, and they've been forwarded to the land trust. But what I'm saying, or whatever, so we can forward them
That's
on
what
to
would happen.
whoever,
Right.
or the town, or we can help them get.
Yeah.
Get in, okay, that's fine, I'm just trying to, I'm looking at the scenario, I'm just, again,
Someone to protect their land. They need another party,
yes, they do,
right? I mean, if they're gonna sell their land, they gotta sell it to someone.
yes. Yes,
If they're gonna put an easement on it, they need to work with someone that can accept an easement, so there always has to be another party involved.
yeah,
I'd just like to make a comment.
Okay.
though, because what irritates me about this, Sue, is that we have always
Mhm.
required appraisals. Okay, everybody, just so everybody knows. It's not like we've been doing this for 25 years and we haven't required appraisals. We've always required appraisals. It might not have been on this form saying that it has to be
Right.
required, but we've always required it. We have not been willy-nilly
Right.
recommending properties that we don't have an appraisal for. We always analyze the appraised value versus the assessed value and what's happening in the real estate marketplace and understand whether we're being taken for a ride. We have always done that. We've done it with all of you here in the properties you've seen already. So this is nothing new. We require an appraisal. The council wanted special language for that.
They wanted some proof, some verification, you know, I think that's.
Hey, that's within their right. You know?
In the interest of time,
Okay,
It's gonna do a
sorry,
time
keep
check.
going.
what's on the floor right now is a discussion of this checklist. Not whether it's required or what's happened in 25 years, so let us put that on the checklist. We want an attestation, an appraisal attestation certification.
That was my
Or
recommendation.
proof of, yeah, that's it,
So let us put it on the
proof of
checklist.
appraisal. That's
The
it.
language hasn't even been drafted.
I only,
yet.
I thought we
reason I
got-
brought it up was
I thought
the
we were
numbers.
doing that
Okay,
30 minutes.
so we're actually.
It's assessed.
Two. And then we got diverted with whether.
Assessed value.
Assessed value. Which is actually,
Number 9.
it's page nine.
That's number 9.
Number nine, sorry, number 9. So.
No, appraised value is number 9.
Number
Didn't it
9,
revise one?
yeah, number 9,
There's no
There's
assessment.
no assessment.
There's no assessment.
that's what, correct.
That's how we got sidetracked.
That's how we got sidetracked. So what I heard was we're adding. We're adding assessed value to the application form. Because we know it's going to come, questions are gonna come up and the presentation and the application will, or no, the presentation, not the application. The presentation will allow the opportunity to address any differences between the assessed value and the appraised value.
But there's always gonna be a difference. It's like you're adding something that.
I
doesn't
agree with you,
need to be added.
yes, I think that's the way it should be.
So I think that, we can vote on it, but I think the majority of folks feel that it's important to have the assessed values so that we can address the issue head on when reviewing an application.
I think I should.
Can I suggest, if you're gonna add assessed value, which
Which is.
I have
what
some
adding,
issues
though.
with.
It's actually putting it back in, because it
It's
is in the
keeping.
original.
keeping, if you're gonna keep it, I think you should put some blank lines under it. For the applicant to go, like, if we're only buying a piece of the property. There is no way for us to have an assessed value for just that price.
You can
Um,
put a comment box on the. leave it
Comment
blank.
box.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you're doing a conservation easement, obviously that's gonna be much different than the entire assessed value of the property. So I think the applicant could have the ability to kind of say why the assessed value is, it's
Different from what they're
going to be
putting in.
different.
There's another way to approach this, and that would be to have the committee make sure that they look. This committee look at assessed value versus.
It's always gonna be different. It has no
No,
relevance.
I understand. I'm
So
just,
why are we looking at it? It's like saying you gotta go make sure that the Santa Claus, make sure the Santa Claus isn't across the street.
what
No
happened,
relevance.
what happened when we made the last application to the council recommendation? People did research, stood up and
Right.
said, we have a
But
real
we-
issue here between assessed and place value. And furthermore, we don't
Right, and
trust
it
the
was,
appraised value.
wasn't even addressed because it's not relevant. That comment was never even addressed because it's not relevant. The council voted, they knew it wasn't relevant, and they voted.
I'll just make a comment that I think whether it's on the application form or not, if somebody's gonna have an issue with the project, they're gonna bring it up at the council meeting. No matter if it's been discussed here or not, they're gonna bring it up at the council meeting. So I would just say not included in the application, because I think it muddies the water. But whatever you guys wanna do,
But
but it's not gonna stop somebody from bringing it up.
the fundamental question though is people who are bringing up the issue are basically bringing up the issue because they're saying that somehow there's fraud or somebody's being hoodwinked or something else. So just putting the line down, saying that this board has considered it and understands why there's differences. You know, we've covered that territory. We're not hiding anything. You haven't discovered anything, you know? But basically, the point is that they're trying to say is that the town is wasting its money.
Right.
And so you said, we've examined the
Are we talking about
details.
one individual?
Yeah,
The group of individuals,
or
Group of individuals.
yes, that's fine, that,
Well,
if
the one,
it's
the
not
one thing,
that, it'll be something else.
the one
That's
thing
true.
that is valuable is, hate to say this, but there are times when a counselor isn't aware of sort of the differences in assessed versus appraised value. Town councilors sometimes don't know
Well,
these
but
stuff.
Oh,
New
well-
town counselor, so they may hear it and they may wonder.
And the language can be on here then.
But that's what I'm just saying.
They
And,
should have
and what I'm saying is that it's our opportunity to educate. That there's a and maybe that's what we put in the AEP too, is that assessed value doesn't but however, we've included here just to make sure maybe we actually put a paragraph in the, I don't know.
no, I think that makes a lot of sense.
So
If we're gonna put it on the form, we have to have an explanation.
Explanation, okay, it's so silly.
You're never gonna finish this document at this rate.
Well, yes, I
Yeah.
know, that's true. I could laugh at
All
that.
right,
yeah,
I agree. Let's
Okay.
put it on.
Okay.
Excellent. So, can we move on to page 3?
They aren't numbered, so.
I know.
Third page, right?
Land audit description.
Number 1, okay.
Number one. Then if I did.
No, that's page
No.
4.
That's
Unless I,
What
no,
is
you're
the-
right.
what
yeah.
is the item number? Is it set?
It starts with land description, and
Oh,
tax
okay.
map number.
We've also,
I wrote a note, I need to.
We need to add
Where do we include a spot to notate donation?
Oh, this is where, I thought we were
I
farther
thought we
along.
were farther along too, but.
we skipped ahead and we're going back to where, so. That is related to the original application at the very end of page 3. It was possibilities for purchase easement donation. So I don't know. If we need a spot on the form or if it's on the budget, I do know that, like landowner donation or bargain sale is, I highlight it with council. So I think maybe while it might seem like it's taking up more space to include it on the application, they do get the application as part of their packet. Rather than having to have them dig into the budget, I think we could keep.
Just put proposed donation.
Yeah.
Just add it. That's all.
Are these notes your notes, Nicole?
Yes, it was like what I noticed between what was already existing and
And then.
what
and
Zan
the
sent
amendment.
over, yeah, just putting it all together, yes.
So you're responsible for all the confusion and everything else. I just wanted to nail that down, but
It's me.
The next change, I don't think we need directions to the property from town hall. Everybody has GPS now. I think we can get rid of that.
Where is that one? Oh, yeah.
Well, furthermore, we've got tax map number and
Yeah,
lot number.
Yeah.
Zoning district.
That seems like a holdover we
It's
don't,
not.
oh, yeah, okay.
we're just cleaning up the form.
No, it's really, whatever.
Brief project description, I think we need to leave more space, but if it's a fillable PDF, I don't think that that matters. So usually we get about, based on applications received recently, it's about a page.
Yeah, 3/4 of a page to a page.
Yeah.
People,
Well, and we're losing some
And I would just,
info in
I would
here.
put a little note, you know. Basically summarize the question, your answers to your question on questions 1.9, something like that. It's just let you know that that's what we're asking about, these relevant issues.
Project summary.
Just a
It's
summary,
just a project.
just a summary of key aspects of the site.
I would like to have an attachment availability for that.
Yes,
And the reason is because sometimes when you have a fillable PDF
It's not
and
enough room.
you go
yes,
to print it,
yes.
it doesn't
It cuts it
capture.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you do it as an attachment, I don't have that problem.
Excellent point. And then acquisition of availability. This is whether or not there's a willing seller. I'm fine with dropping the whole thing.
It must have tied to that other
It must have
law.
gone to the other block.
I don't know, you know,
A willing seller.
if you wanna
Yeah.
put on there, you know, that you have to attest to the fact that there's a willing seller, okay.
Okay.
But don't ask them whether they believe it or not, because if they don't believe it, we don't wanna hear from them.
It's true.
We
Take it
can
out.
get rid of that.
Okay, one page though. Now we're into the numbers.
Yes.
What are we on now? These pages are on.
Site
Right.
description.
Site description number
First
1.
page, all right.
Now, what I tried to do here with these questions is. From the descriptions and the presentation that Scott and Andrew made from the land trust and the farmland trust, I think they did a good job. The kinds of things they talk about. I'm trying to give the applicant the opportunity to add some of those things in. They may not know these things, which is fine, but. Just having it, my belief was just having that checklist in the old application wasn't very helpful.
I don't know what entity, the difference between species, what's entity there?
That identified the species, in other words, US Fish, isn't that what you meant? US Fish and Wildlife Service?
Entity, association, organization,
Whoever identified that there was a.
Okay, okay, I didn't know that.
Because the thing is that sometimes a state, it could be threatened in the state, but not federally or vice versa. Is that what you meant?
yes.
Entity or organization.
So change that word to reflect what you just said, because.
Yeah.
Organization, because a non-conservation.
I thought it was an entity, like it
Well,
was,
'cause
there's a
It
species.
said entity up here, so if we
Okay.
change that to organization and that organization.
Yeah,
that's
identifying
clearer.
it.
But the government is really not an organization. It's technically, it's an agency. But.
Agency or organization.
What's the word entity? People don't know the word entity?
So it clearly confused some people, so.
Okay,
So usually. Folks will talk about what species, you know. Have been, observed. I will say that the game cam photos, I know that sounds like photographic evidence. The game cam photos are hugely popular with council. They love it. They love it when they can, you know, see the animals with, you know.
feeding their little babies and all that.
Or, you know.
Wait till we bring scat.
Are we on question 2 or?
We're on two. I keep it, and I do think it's important to have, the photographic evidence actually is important.
Yes. I would just like to add a word to number 2, what significant species have been observed? I mean, we don't wanna say chickadees and
Yeah.
so.
Cardinals.
So this is kind of a repeat of what the summary is in a way, but this is
This is
a
pulling out
This is-
information.
pulling,
Yeah.
pulling
Yeah,
the specific,
You
yeah.
might wanna put the summary after the check.
That's what I was thinking.
Because it's really. The description is a summary of what this information is.
Yeah.
Just to go back to number one real quick, would it be, would you be able to add like local government? So you have state and federal, there's a local government that
Hmm.
also,
Oh, I thought we were saying organization or, I thought we were saying
State,
or-
federal,
or
local,
agency. I think you said
private.
remote.
State, federal,
Oh.
is there a other, is there,
I mean, if the town has information about species for some reason.
okay, so put the local in, I guess.
Just to let people know here,
Research.
you know, the state will not give out detailed information on endangered and threatened species in the state,
Locations.
specific locations. They'll give you kind of a big bubble, but it won't get down to the parcel level. And that's for both animals and plants, and that's to protect
It from jerks.
Jerks.
So, I mean, it is a little tough to get that information. And most people are not gonna know really if they have some of these protected species on their property. So you're gonna get a lot of deer, turkey, coyote, kind of, you know, standard
Yeah,
That's
ermine,
fine.
stuff. Yeah,
they're ermine,
which are not protected.
ermine, I had an ermine,
Did you really?
I have a picture too.
Well, folks, we're at time.
All right.
And on, but it is a
Are you
high note
serious?
for the meeting. And I'll
Yes.
show you the picture of my ermine.
So
So what's
how
the
about
next-
number one and two are fine, number three is fine, number four is fine. How about putting something in there about whether there are trails on the property? But that's okay, if you don't want to, that's fine. And then,
It's
public
only,
access for
it's only
passive
an ermine in the,
recreation, it should be passive or active.
right here.
That was in our
Picture
original one
standing
too.
up.
They don't have to determine what active recreation means, but our passive recreation was meant to allow them to understand what we meant by that.
Yes, I've
and then-
never seen one.
You know, I thought 6 was good, I thought 7 was good, I was
Well, I
concerned
think
about
we-
9
I think we need.
because of the conservation appraisal stuff.
Other habitat features, because we're often talking about vernal pools. And I think that there's a gap with other habitat features that aren't captured by GIS or state. Or federal or local maps,
Like it being its own,
other categories, other habitat features, other can use the example of vernal pools.
Well, we can add, bro, anything,
Well, I don't think we need to be so specific.
yeah.
Give them some,
They're gonna get
Anyway,
into
there.
these things in their formal application, this is just a checklist, so. How much information are you trying to rather than
Well,
what?
this is the application.
they would get into it in their presentation.
Yeah, the presentation.
Yeah,
But
but
that's all
not,
right.
they wouldn't get into it unless we knew we were interested.
Right.
That's the thing. We're trying
We're-
to prompt somebody other than the land trust to tell us about the best things about this property. Right?
But you need to go, right? It's 11:30.
I really need to go.
Yep, we're at time.
The rest of it looks.
So,
what?
number
We
nine,
discussed number 9.
What are we gonna
On last-
do right now?
we shouldn't restrict ourselves to just conservation process, we are responsible by the council for more than conservation land. So number 9 is fine if you were specifying for conservation lands, here's the requirement. But we also have looked at non-conservation land a little bit of times over the years. A perfect example is parking lot at Higgins Beach.
Right,
Okay,
we've
so
said a number of
conservation-
times that this application would not qualify for use of anything other than. conservation.
Why not?
And if we needed a different kind of process and form for a different kind of.
So you're gonna add a whole new process for
We
other.
have no way to evaluate a park acquisition right now. Do we?
No, I think that's gonna have to be from the recreational,
I think you're right, that it would
Committee.
come from the rec board.
and
Or
maybe,
it's gonna
maybe,
be- We talked, at some point, we talked about it being part of our goals for next year. Maybe it isn't, but that's what we talked about.
well, I will say the historical preservation issue was, we really need to recommend to the town council that they require some sort of
Evaluation.
evaluation, because there was some very concerned people about purchases of properties that were not necessarily historical, because they've been changed so much. And whether or not we should be using our funds for that. I mean, obviously, everything worked out okay, but I'm saying we definitely. I think that should be part of our sort of presentation to the council.
Well, I think that's the kind of thing the council is asking for in,
Yeah.
in this, in
Yeah.
the, direction on prior to
Yeah.
2026.
Yeah,
And I think that we can make a recommendation that says the current conservation evaluation process is not suitable for parks or historic.
right.
And that there should be a new process put in place with the interaction, the cooperation of the Historic Society and the Conservation Board. And we shouldn't be doing that by ourselves.
So,
That's the kind of thing I mean, I'm looking for in 26.
thank you.
The question is how, now that we're out of time and now it's December and our next meeting is not till January, what's the process for inputting our feedback to the council?
It's gonna have to be a Google Doc. So we can get there. Cause it's due by the 31st.
The evaluation process.
I thought you meant this, but.
No, this is, we're talking about the council's input. Yeah, what did we accomplish? What is our priority for the 26th?
So I listed, I have 4 things listed that.
So Nicole has another meeting she has to go to. That's why we're done. I know everybody's
I'll
trying.
send it out.
Yes, we're gonna do it.
I'm not
Yes, please.
pretending I have the answer for all these
Yes.
things, but I'll send out something that, right away, that at least tries to address some of this and if it's
So
useful.
we agreed to do that via email as a group.
No, it should be a Google Doc.
So you're gonna take what Doug just as a starting point and put it in Google
Here's someone we
Doc?
can all get active.
We
Those Google
be
Docs.
clear what the process is.
I'm gonna put these questions in a link in a Google Doc and I'll send it to you all.
Good.
Okay,
And then if I'm sending the link, I have permission, authority.
Yeah, or we can make it a jot form and then literally all the answers get compiled.
Okay,
Ooh.
let's do that. Let's do that.
a job.
I can do that.
Shots.
I can't do that.
That's so high
I
tech.
have that special.
Nicole is
Special
trying
access.
to create a job form with these questions, which will compile.
Because I think there also is some compatibility issues for some people with Google.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I don't know
so
why-
Jotform doesn't do that. Great.
Nicole, I'm pretty clueless on this because I'm pretty new, so don't expect me to
It
be.
will come to you like a link and you'll click it and it will look like a questionnaire and you'll be able to just
Not
fill
done
it
it.
in.
And I may have no response. for it.
Okay.
I'm just letting you know now.
Just don't worry because it's technical.
I know you have to go, but there's one thing that's not in the application form that I think really has to be in there, because I don't think even like Maine Farmland Trust and some of these other groups would understand. For fee acquired lands, the town, after the fact, enters into covenants and restrictions with that holder. And I think there has to be something in the application that says you agree to enter into the town to put these permanent restrictions on the property.
So my thought was that we create a new version of the application with the decisions we made today. And then come back to outstanding questions, because I don't feel like because everybody is trying to like get their last bits in, like if the discussion is not done, we're just gonna note where we've gotten to and we will take up the conversation in January.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there so
Yeah.
it doesn't get lost.
So we are done, however, and I must have missed, we are done.
Oh,
Today.
so the,
Technically.
so Nicole asked, and you don't have to be done, you can still vote until your replacements are named and approved. Which will probably be February, that's what the term part, but on the February. So you don't have to be done if you don't want to be, but also understanding that you're free.
I appreciate it. And, it's been a really fun ride. I am going back on the land trust board, and that's a conflict of interest here, so I'll be done as of the 31st. I will do what I just said though, which is work on this thing because I had some comments about that, so.
Have fun.
Well,
thank you two very, very much.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are we officially?
Or if
I'm
it's.
still showing up
Okay,
for if
we
you need.
stopped.